to the Integrity Data from the Vault podcast. It's Robert Jackson, the product manager here at Integrity Data, with founder CEO Patrick Doolin. Patrick, could you explain what the topic today is for the podcast?
Today we're going to be talking about innovation in a traditionally risk-averse industry like ours, payroll.
So the title of the podcast is, from the Vault. So do you like to explain where that came from and why there's a vault door behind us?
Sure. We purchased and renovated this building for our offices about 15 years ago, and it had 3 vaults in it. And they were from a land estate company. They kept old maps and deeds and titles and things in them from 120 years ago. And so this is one of those 3 vaults.
So the burning questions, any money, any gold?
There's nothing in the
priceless
vault. No, unfortunately, nothing in the vault.
All right, that's the main question I have today.
So Robert, our first question today is around innovation in a traditionally risk-averse environment like payroll. So how do we bring innovation in payroll to our customers where it's responsible innovation in a way that helps them move forward, but kind of reduces big changes? They don't like change typically. So what are some ways that you as product manager are working with the team to introduce changes for our customers that help them without being too risky?
Right. Yeah. So I think part of it's just breaking up the solution. So a lot of our customers have a lot of similar problems. 10 different customers, and about 8 of them have really similar problems. Maybe a couple of them are slightly different, but in general, we have a process where we are able to break down a problem and solve it in multiple steps. Kind of gives the customer, and then release those in multiple releases.
Incremental.
Yeah, it's more incremental. That way, it's not such a shock to a customer, and they can kind of piecemeal absorbing that solution into their internal processes.
Yeah, because they have to keep paying people. That doesn't stop, right?
The government likes their money too.
And the government needs to be paid on time. Right. So when we look at that from a change that's around, say, compliance. Sure. And so an innovation that we've tried to adopt is speeding the time that it takes, speeding up the process for customers to get these updates for these compliance changes. Sure. So when we make those changes, just talk a little bit about how we do that.
Yeah, so obviously the government, makes changes for compliance, all the time. So we have our SMEs, our subject matter experts, that kind of understand the rules and the law and the legalities. We go from the law getting passed or the changes being made, being able to consume those at kind of like understand the problem, and then we build incremental features to solve that problem. And we go through a rigorous testing phase with it, and then maybe some user acceptance testing, or maybe we give it to a subset of customers that make sure that change really is solving their problem.
So that helps build the confidence in the team that it's done well, done to the customer expectations, and helps reduce the customer's fear that, it's not going to work, or, hey, I'm loading an update, and that's always a scary thing, right?
Right, so, or even building maybe too much. Sometimes we build features, we think we know what the customer ends up needing, right, but that's not always the case. So giving it to them at a kind of a piecemeal, fully tested, production-ready feature really, I think, makes it the process a lot smoother for the customer. So Patrick, we're celebrating 30 years here. Obviously, you have a little gray. You're aging very nicely. But what innovations have you seen over the years that have really made an impact on our customers?
Yeah, thanks for calling me old, because I am. But I think As I reflect back, some of the big sweeping changes that we have seen, innovations into the payroll space. People say, well, payroll's still the same. It hasn't changed. Well, it's actually changed a lot. Things like employee self-service and employee portals for them to access information on their own. I remember back when we started emailing earnings statements. That was a new big thing, instead of people having to print them out every time.
Now they can see it from the beach, right? Get on my phone,
exactly,
see the beach.
exactly. Software as a service has been a big change in the last decade, of moving from on-prem software that you have to physically be at the computer, at the desk to process payroll, to edit changes for timesheets and PTO requests and things like that, to now being able to do it anywhere as long as you have access to the environment. Some others, when we see the compliance changes that we talked about, where they're happening so frequently, not only federal but state and local levels. You go out in California and they have compliance rules at the county or city level.
Right.
Those changes are difficult to roll out in a solution where you have to load updates on the computer when they come out.
Right.
And the software as a service has allowed us to expedite that process, so customers just automatically have them. If I'm not in California, I don't have to worry about it. If I am in California, I want to make sure that it is available when it's there. So those innovations have been key in speeding up the process for the payroll managers to be able to stay on time with getting payroll calculated and have the confidence that it's doing it the right way while keeping up with all the legislative rules that they have to follow.
Right. It's really an accessibility solution. The admins now can run payroll from the beach. I can be at my house, at the car dealership, and pull up a pay stub. Really, software in general's made a lot of these different items very accessible.
If you think about what COVID did with the remote workforce, and people still had to go into the office to run payroll, people still had to go into the office to hire people, and that's no longer a requirement. And we always tell that story where you have the employee that is on the weekend buying a new vehicle, and they've selected the vehicle that they want. Dealership says, okay, we just need proof of income, so I need the last 2-3 pay stubs. In the past, that would have been impossible. They would have had to have them in advance, or they'd had to come back with them. Well, now they just pull up their phone, they can get to those pay stubs, and then while they get the pay stubs, then they're like, well, let's adjust our direct deposit so we make sure we have enough money in our account to cover this new payment. They can do that right from their phone. Maybe the reason they're getting a new vehicle is because they're having a baby, and so
need that extra seat.
They need that extra seat, and so, well, go ahead and adjust your W-4 while you're there, while you're thinking about it. All that can be done now in a way that used to be lots of paper, lots of manual entry in the office, and now it's all electronic and done automatically.
Right, the HR manager doesn't have to be bothered on a weekend at 11 o'clock to
because I'm trying to buy a new vehicle.
Yeah, it's definitely made a lot of information way more accessible than it was prior years.
Yep.
As you're talking to these employers that are overwhelmed with everything they have to do, they're looking for a new payroll system. Where would you kind of tell them to start?
That's a good question. There's a lot they have to consider. I often tell them to evaluate your business and try to understand what is the current state of operations that you have around payroll and HR in your business today. What are the things that are time consuming? What are the things that are manual? Where are there pain points that, if you're going to put forth that effort into a new system, make sure that new system addresses those. So for example, as a payroll manager, it could be gathering the paper timesheets and getting that time manually entered into payroll, and they're scrambling to get that done just before they got to get payroll out the door. And we all know that if they're late on payroll, they're going to hear about it.
Right.
They don't want to be late, and they want to be accurate. So they need that data, but it is a very anxious time for them as they're scrambling to get that data. How do we make that better? That's what they should be asking. If it's the CFO, they may be. We hear this a lot from CFOs. This person is the only one that knows how to run payroll, and I don't know what to do if they are not available. So is the information accessible to others in the organization? Are there policies that are in place to help someone else step in as a backup to cover payroll? What's that look like in a new modern payroll solution? Those are just a couple places. It has absolutely nothing to do with what product you're selecting.
Right.
You're first trying to understand, where am I now? Where do I want to go? If we're going to go through the effort, make that list, and then find an organization that can address those issues for you.
Solve those problems.
That's right.
Yep.
Robert, something we really enjoy doing is helping our customers kind of sift through all that information to understand their current state and their future state. So often they don't realize how different things can be because they're so used to doing things the way they've been doing them. So a message to our audience is, if you're someone that's in that place where you're looking for where to start with evaluating payroll solutions, then reach out to us. We'd love to have that conversation with you. We're going to walk you through a series of questions just to understand kind of where you're at and what you're struggling with. And then from there, you can go and evaluate solutions, including what we offer, to see what works best for your organization.
Yeah. In 30 years, we've helped quite a few customers, you more than I. So,
well, you've been here, what, 18?
19 going up here
so
soon.
Yeah,
so it's been here a while.
You were just a kid when you started, and you kind of still are. But
yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's been fun. We've built some great relationships through the years with a lot of our long-term customers and Microsoft partners, and that's what brings us back, keeps us doing it. So,
right. Yeah, it's been a journey going from Great Plains into the Business Central.
Yeah.
It's a new horizon.
Yeah, back when you were just a snot-nosed kid.
And you're young. Well, thank you for joining us on this podcast episode. It was truly a pleasure, Patrick. And till next time.
Thanks.